What is up, English 10? Welcome to Casa Puckett for our first virtual lesson. And if you're watching this video, either you missed the live video that we had, or you just loved my lesson so much that you wanted to go back and watch it again. So I'm going to assume you slept and missed it. So let's talk today about what we're going to do. I've got a few things we've got to take care of today. The first, I'll walk you around some new features of our Canvas that it's important for you to be aware of. First is the help button right here. I will be available. I might change the name on this to live button. It might say live button right now if you look at it. But basically, this is how you go live with our class. If you click on that, it will connect you to the Google Meet. Actually, it takes you to this screen where you select the Google Meet. And so if it is, say, 9:20, you pick the current time. So like if it's 9:20, you would click on period 3 and it would take you to period 3's Google Meet. If it was 2 in the afternoon, you would click period 7. It doesn't matter what class you're in. You know, you can go to any of those to get help, to ask questions, to have me go over stuff. Also, this is where you're going to go if you want to join us live. A couple other things. I do have the morning hours and afternoon hours for Friday. Fridays are going to be a little bit different. We won't have specific lessons, but you may get an assignment, but you'll also have time to work on stuff and hopefully get caught up. Okay, that's that. I want to take you back to our Canvas real fast here and show you one other thing, if it loads, which is our new calendar. I'm going with a weekly format now. You will still have access to this, and I'm going to update this so that you can access all of the different weeks and things. I'll probably put a button on it or something like that. But I wanted to do this so you have more room per day. You will still be able to access the full calendar and see all the things that we've done in case you need to go back and redo something or find something. For today, I've got links to all of our live meetings. You can just click on it there. Hopefully you saw it and went to it, but if you're here, you probably didn't. Also, at the very, very bottom here, something that I want everybody to do. We're going to sign up for Remind. This is going to make it easier to communicate with you. If you click on it, I'm having you sign up for 2 different Reminds. The first is every one of you needs to sign up for the Honors Remind. This is how I communicate with all my honor students en masse, in a big group. So you'll click on that and sign up. I promise I will not blow up your phone. I'm not going to send a bunch of these. It's just when I need to make quick communication that I know you'll see. And then you'll also join one for your class period. So if you're currently in period 3, you'll do that. We will redo this in January because some of you will switch class periods and whatnot. But that's that, and we are good. So let's talk about what we are doing today. If you go ahead and click on, if you need to pause this video to find it, but go ahead and click on, pause it and click on your class period right here on the weekly to go to our Nearpod. You're going to follow along with us. So I'll give you a second to go do that. Again, feel free to pause this at any point if you need to follow my directions. We're going to be talking about step 3 of AP Literary Analysis, which is talking about writing body paragraphs. What goes in the actual body paragraph of your essay? Hopefully by now you are in this Nearpod. So step 1, if you remember, was writing a good thesis statement. And step 2 was writing a good closer, a good sentence to close it out. One thing about AP writing, they don't care that much about a conclusion. You just need 1 or 2 sentences to wrap it up. Usually one that points back to your main idea and thesis. We've talked about that on Friday. Today, we're going to talk about what goes in those body paragraphs. So in your body paragraphs, a great literary essay, a literary analysis essay, should show that a student understands the function of a literary term. For example, you should demonstrate that you understand what a theme is, for example. The really good news is once you have your starting place, your thesis, and your destination, your conclusion, you've already done a bunch of the work and thinking about the analysis that is going to need to be done to get you from point A to point B. Now, we're going to be talking about literary devices, so it's kind of important that we know what some are. So I'm going to, real quick, fly through a few of these on these next slides, just to make sure you know what they are. An allusion is a reference to something else. Diction is your word choice. You may notice a lot of these are AP terms, by the way. Hey, look, wow, a vocab list that actually gets used in the class. Crazy, right? Diction is your word choice, as I mentioned. If you have formal diction, you choose nice formal words. If you have informal diction, you might speak in slang, fam, and I think that's lit. Alliteration, that's when you start multiple words with the same sound and syllable that makes the S hissing sound, right? Hissing, I know, doesn't start with an S, but you get it, right? Those all started with a S sound over and over. Alliteration. Allegory, that's when a piece of story a story has two levels of storytelling, symbolic and literal. Colloquialism is a local term, right? It's a local piece of slang. Euphemism. Euphemism is it's a term for something that sounds nicer than it is, right? I'm gonna go freshen up instead of saying I'm gonna go to the Whiz Palace. That's where my bathroom is. That's why I pointed in that direction. Flashbacks. You know what a flashback is. It's when you jump back in time within a story. Foreshadowing, hinting at what's coming forward. Imagery, that's any kind of detail that has to do with the five senses: smell, sight, taste, sound, and touch. I'm proud of myself for getting all those right the first try. Juxtaposition, we just talked about this in a lot of our classes. Comparing two things that are not alike, comparing and contrasting. Metaphor and simile, you've been talking about forever. I'm not going to even talk about it. Personification is when you give an object or an animal human-like characteristics. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is when a term makes the sound. A term is named after the sound that it makes. So, for example, the word buzz is called that because the sound buzz, right? Buzz sounds like the word buzz. You see, symbolism and tone. So, symbolism is, when something represents something larger or more important than itself, right? Okay, it's a paperweight, but also it represents London the way it was before Big Brother. You understand. In Great Gatsby, when you read it next year, there's a green light, and it's a church, it's a green light. But also to Gatsby, it represents the dream that he has sought his whole life. And then tone, that's the emotions that the author is imparting into the work. Okay, you probably knew all of those. Now we're going to look at an example. This is an actual AP prompt. All right, the following poem is by the 16th century English poet George Gascoigne. Read the poem carefully, then write an essay in which you analyze how the complex attitude of the speaker is developed through such devices as form, diction, and imagery. I will read the poem. I guess I will read the poem. Feel free to skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to read the poem, but I think you should read the poem. For that he looked not upon her. You must not wonder, though you think it strange, to see me hold my luring head so low, and that mine eyes take no delight to range about the gleams which on your face do grow. The mouse, which once hath broken out of trap, is seldom ticed with the trustless bait, ticed being shortened of enticed here, but lies aloof for fear of more mishap, and feedeth still in doubt of deep deceit. The scorched fly, which once hath scaped the flame, will hardly come to play again with fire. Whereby I learn that grievous is the game which follows fancy dazzled by desire, so that I wink or else hold down my head, because your blazing eyes my bale have bred. Okay, now that we've read the poem and the prompt, let's take a look at a couple things. So first, here is the wrong way to do this, okay? When you look back at this, this problem occurs, when the people do nothing more than find examples of literary devices within a text. So a lot of people, if I can go back here for just a second to illustrate this for you, a lot of people say, oh, okay, all right, form, diction, imagery. Oh, great, cool. I just need to find those things and put them in my essay. And yes, you do need to find those things, but the point of the essay is not just to, oh, look, there's diction. Oh, there's form. That's problem. And worse yet, sometimes students look at these three things, form, diction, imagery, and they think, oh, Body paragraph 1, we'll talk about form. Body paragraph 2, we'll talk about diction. And body paragraph 3, we'll talk about imagery. And again, that's how you make your essay sound like a million other essays. And you just pretty much write off any chance of a 5 or even a 4 on your AP term, which are the scores that you want. Like this is a bad, when each gets its own paragraph, that's a bad thing. From the 2014 poetry prompt on the previous slide, this would mean students would devote an entire paragraph to form. It's a sonnet, and here's how you can tell. 1 to diction. The author uses a lot of good diction. Oh, that's the worst. Do not let your teacher catch you saying good diction. That's not a thing, right? You can say formal diction. You can say controlled diction. You can say emotional diction or informal diction. These are all types of diction. And now I've said it so many times, it's stopped making sense. Diction. But you get it. Like, good is not a type of diction. Bad is not a type of diction. You need to be descriptive. But anyways, we're still talking about the ways you don't do this, okay? And then they would do 1 paragraph for imagery. Oh, the author's use of imagery in this line makes me feel blank. Okay, that's not what we are supposed to do. And I get why you would. We are kind of trained in the first few years of English essay writing to look at things like a list of 3 and go, oh, they want each to be a body paragraph. But you're beyond that now. You've left that behind. That's for everybody else. It's not for you. Okay, here's the right way to analyze and in your essay. All right, basically, you have to put more emphasis on discussing and analyzing why an author uses a specific literary devices within a text. Oh, I just realized, by the way, that my dog has made a cameo. I know it's a big thing on all telecommuting and virtual stuff when the person's dog shows up. So if you're waiting for Lily to arrive, she's right there. Okay, so we're talking about why the author uses those things. You're not just pointing out that they are used. You need to say why they get used. Using the poetry prompt from 2 slides ago, an example student quickly identified the poem as a sonnet, since it follows all the rules for a sonnet. But then they follow up by saying that, quote, while the standard and rigid form is effective in proving the speaker's point and supporting their argument, it at first seems a little too rigid to convey the depths of their emotions. So you see here how they've pointed out that it's using sonnet, and that's good, but they've gone that step further. Why did they use sonnet? And what use of this, like what aspects of using sonnet were good, and what aspects of using sonnet were bad? It is okay to think that the author didn't nail it. It's okay to criticize the author. In fact, it's great. You should do it. That's saying something significant. Good job, example student. All right. Now, how can you start, getting your brain to work this way? 2 things. You should talk about books. I know that that's not I'm not sure how many of you are in a book club, and I'm not saying you have to, but at least take advantage when we're in English class, talk about books. We spent most of book 2 of 1984 having discussions, both online and in class. And that's the point, is to stretch these muscles a little bit. But also write. The more you write, the more comfortable you will be pointing out flaws in others' writing and saying what happened, what was good about other people's writing. Okay, we're going to practice. So I'm going to have you do this now that we've gotten started. You're going to read this paragraph from a literary analysis essay. When you are done, you're going to answer this open-ended question. Then, when you are finished with that, I have a little more practice of you for you. If this says to put your cursor in the box and move it down when needed. I don't think that that's necessary, but if yours only shows part of it, that will work. And you have one more question at the end of that. When you finish this, as long as you have signed up for our Remind, you are good today. I hope you all have a great day. If I can get myself back to my Loom. Oh, no, I don't need to go there. I hope you all have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Check in tomorrow. We'll probably do some kind of live meeting tomorrow. I will keep it short. It won't be as long as today because a lot of tomorrow will be assigning some reading from 1984 so we can finish the book. So have a great one, and I will talk to you later.